when I was sitting back in prison and I'm looking back over my life and I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't read, like what happened. And one of the best things that I could come up with was the subjects that they was teaching in school, Jack and Jill going up a hill, that didn't interest me.
With my co-host Rock. What's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
We got a special guest today, Rock.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. Man that don't need no introduction. Special guest today in Counterpunch Conversations, Freeway Rick Ross.
Hey.
What's up, bro?
I'm good. Rock.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
I'm good.
The real
Rick Ross.
The real Rick Ross.
But anyway, we got our guest, Freeway Rick Ross. Well, let's get off into it. Mike, let me get the bell. Hey, so when we have a guest, we call it, we welcome them to the ring. So, it's all boxing stuff, man.
Yeah, anyway, let's get it. Let's get it. The boxers say, let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it. So, look, born and raised, Freeway Rick Ross was born and raised in Texas, right?
No, born in Texas.
But raised in California.
California, yeah.
So how did the Freeway Rick Ross story begin? Start us from the beginning. How did the story begin?
I don't know where my mom and dad met. I mean, they both played sports. My mom played basketball. My dad played football. I found out later on in life. I didn't grow up with my dad.
Okay.
I just heard stories in a couple articles. News reporters went and talked to my dad. They found out more about my dad. I learned more about him from reading articles that was wrote about me than I knew about him, period. I found out he was a football player. Also was a bootlegger, alcohol bootlegger.
Now, this was in Texas?
Yeah, in Texas.
Now, you didn't grow up with him at all? He wasn't in the home at all?
No, that's a southern thing.
Him and my mom broke up when I was 4 months old.
Okay.
So I never was around him. When I got out of jail in 93, we met briefly for about a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the last time you seen him, or have you seen him since?
He passed while I was in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I didn't get to see him. But we got to talk a little bit and talked about, why he left and, because I was mad at my dad,
Of course.
My mom was mad at him. Mm-hmm. So I was mad at him automatically. I didn't really give him a chance, Mom's is it. Whatever she say, that's what it is. So I didn't really want to fool with him. I didn't really, I think I probably reached out to him when I was really, really young a couple times, but, nothing happened. But
So being raised by a single mother, which happens a lot of us in the hood, man.
Most of us in the hood. Yeah. I think I only had two dudes that I grew up with that had a fathers in the house.
Our era. Our era. My mom and dad split up, married in '66, split up in 1970. I was born in '70. So a few months after I was born, gone.
Right.
So yeah.
So Rick, did you become a product of your environment? Like, did you go off into the streets early?
No. I started off as a tennis player.
Yeah, I know you were inspired by Arthur Ashe.
Well, before that, I had homies that played, and I saw them getting free tennis shoes and sweatsuits and rackets, and I'm a better athlete than he is.
Right.
Let me get some of that free stuff. So I started playing tennis.
Now this is in South Central.
Yep.
So tennis is big in South Central because that's where Venus and Serena is from, Compton. So they got big in tennis. So
yeah. We had the best, per se. They said black high school in the country at the time.
Okay.
Which high school was that?
Dorsey
High School. Dorsey's still around.
You don't know nothing about Dorsey High School.
Yeah, they still around. Football now.
I got
football.
ESPN. Why I don't know about Dorsey High School?
Football now.
First of all, football.
Okay.
I'm from Alabama.
Right.
You from Baltimore. Right. Yeah, I don't know nothing about football. So we know about football nationwide, where I come from. 'Tis a religion. Let the brother.
What's their colors? Quick.
Like green and white or something, ain't it? What is it, green and white?
Told you he don't know nothing about Dorsey.
I do know Dorsey High School. It's
Yeah,
famous.
Dorsey green. Dorsey green and white. He's right.
Bro,
I gotta watch this dude,
Bro, I don't
man.
just do this, bro. I don't just
Well, you
do
know,
this,
Dorsey
bro.
is big in football. You
Yes.
know,
Okay,
they done had a
I
lot.
stand corrected.
Then they had a lot of pros come out of Dorsey for
Exactly.
football.
I stand corrected.
So that's easy. I mean, it ain't easy, but if you're a football buff, you know.
So how long? So you playing tennis? You started playing tennis at what age?
About 13.
13.
Yeah. So I played all the way up until 12th grade when it was discovered that I couldn't read and that I wasn't going to be going to college. And I didn't know what my next move was going to be. So.
All right. So up till 13, it wasn't no street games. You wasn't in no games.
Oh,
none
no.
of that?
No, I didn't steal. You know, I didn't smoke, didn't drink. You know, I was going to be an athlete.
So how did the crack come about then?
It didn't come out until after they told me I wasn't going to college.
One sec. So you extremely intelligent, probably damn near a genius. How you didn't learn how to read, bro? From K through 12.
Well, I don't know.
Cause you extremely, cause you ain't not illiterate.
What? When I was sitting back in prison and I'm looking back over my life and I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't read, you know, like what happened? And you know, one of the best things that I could come up with was the subjects that they was teaching in school, you know, Jack and Jill going up a hill, you know, that didn't interest me. You know, I had no interest in what they were doing and why they was going up a hill. So I didn't take interest in reading. You know, the guys that I looked up to didn't read. You know, they didn't carry books.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I guess that's the best explanation that I could possibly give. You know, when I was in prison, I'm telling my cellie to read my letters for me and read my case for me. And he said, "Man, why you don't read it yourself?" And I told him I couldn't read, and he couldn't believe it. So he made me some cue cards and showed me how to sign them out. In a couple of weeks, I was reading the newspaper, and next thing I know, I'm reading law books. So
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
But I mean, it was in your mind. But so you know,
well, I had a desire now
Yeah,
to read. I had a reason why I wanted to read.
like Malcolm X.
Yeah, like Malcolm X.
In time.
That was the first book I ever read.
Malcolm's
Malcolm's autobiography, and I got so much game out of that book. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do now is the stuff that I learned from reading that book. You know, when I read that book, I saw so much of myself
Yeah, me too.
in Malcolm.
I think a lot of us.
Yeah.
So now, before we get to talk about prison and all of that, right? I want to know how you transitioned, because you young, you never was in the street, you never was in the gang. How did you get into the crack game?
Well, in the end of high school, you know, everybody was getting ready to go to college. All my friends, you know, that I hung out with were getting ready to go to college, and they found out I couldn't read. You know, so they was like, "Ain't no way you're going to college. You can't read." Blase, blase. So now I find myself. Dorsey wasn't in South Central at that time. I mean, it's kind of southwest, but it wasn't the type of school that it became, you know, later on that it is now. And like the schools where I grew up at, Fremont and Washington, those were all like gang schools, you know. You went to those schools, more than likely you was a gang member. Dorsey kind of was a gang. It had gangs there, but, you know, this is kind of like where the uppity blacks was living. You know, Baldwin Hills is right next to Dorsey. So it was a little different environment for me. So when I was at Dorsey, I was kind of like out of the hood. But now that I'm not playing tennis anymore, I'm back in the hood now. So now I'm hanging out with guys I went to elementary school with, that I went to junior high school with. A matter of fact, one of my friends who I went to elementary school with just got out of prison from doing 45 years, you know, for gang activity, you know. So this was the environment that I really came from, you know, as a youngster. Right. These were the guys that I hung out with, you know. These were my friends. These tennis players became my friends, you know, later on in life, but they weren't really where I was really from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they weren't the homies.
Yeah, they really wasn't the homies. So now I'm back in South Central, you know, and now I'm curious, you know. I've been gone. The homies smoking weed now, and a couple of them smoking PCP, and I'm trying to find out what I'm gonna do with myself. You know, I'm kind of lost at this time. And the homies took me to a street race, and we go to street races, and I recognized lowriders for the first time in my life, and I decided I wanted one of those lowriders. And that started me on a path of stealing cars. You know, I started going around to all the guys, asking them, man, how do you get this car? And ran into one of the guys, and a guy named Dirty Benny, and he told me to come by his house. And next thing I know, I'm driving stolen cars for him.
Right.
Now that I never heard.
Right.
No?
Never heard that one.
Never heard nobody driving stolen cars?
No, I never heard that about your story because I watched several interviews, but I never heard that story.
Yeah. I started off as a driver. He paid me $50. You know, he'd start the car up. We go out to the valley. He started the car up. I jump in the car, drive it to where he tell me, park it. He give me $50.
How you taking all the risk?
So
The major part of the risk.
Yeah, but no, because he had to take all the parts off.
He had to take the parts off, but to start the car up and then to drive it to the location, that's the most dangerous part. Well, it would be now. I don't know how it was back then.
Well, really, I mean, it if you don't speed and you don't run no red lights, I had driver license, or I got my driver license, and see, and that's another thing that I found out about myself now. You know, in order to get driving license, you got to pass the written test. And all that stuff.
And you couldn't read.
I passed that stuff at 16. I passed my written test.
Oh, you passed the written test.
I didn't miss not one answer on the written test.
How'd you do that if you couldn't read?
I don't know.
Some of it's signage though.
Yeah, maybe so.
Some of it is just signs and stuff like that on it, but you never know.
So how did you? All right. So, at what year would you say was the height of your crack career? What year? 80 what?
I'm like 84 to 86.
Okay, 86. So what year you went to prison?
I went to prison 88. 89.
89.
89
Okay.
I went to prison.
And at your height, what type of money was you making?
At the very height,
Very height.
a good day, $3 million, maybe 3.2.
And one day.
One day. And every day for a couple of years, $1 million every day, just about.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was you doing with that money?
Just buy stuff, houses, businesses,
said just
cars,
buy stuff.
motorcycles,
Yeah.
you know,
Land?
giving people stuff, you know.
Land?
Yeah, I bought land too.
Did you hide any of it?
For myself, probably.
Probably giving a whole lot of money
I mean,
away.
you know, when I was coming up, everybody said the way to hide your money was with real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought, you know, one time I probably had 30 houses, 3 or 4 apartments. I had a motel. I had the real estate to build 3 more motels. My goal was, right before the feds came in, was I had the one motel, and that motel at that time was making like $5,000 a week. And so I said, okay, if you get these other 3 done, and these were going to be bigger than that one because I learned the game. You know, when I first did the first motel, I didn't have a clue about what I was doing. My mom had put me out the house, so I've been living in hotels, motels, not hotels, motels. I'd never been in a hotel, but I was living in motels, and it would be nights that we would go to the motel and we couldn't get a room. And I'd be like, damn, $45 a night and you can't even get a room in this little bitty closet? I'm going to buy me one of these. And
that's what you did.
And that's what I did. I set my goal. So I started asking everybody, man, how do you get a motel? How do you get a motel? And finally, I ran into one of the homies, Orlando Smith, rest in peace. And he took me to a contractor. And
Oh, you built one?
I built my motel from the ground up, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
So that started my motel journey. And after that, I started buying houses. And
What year was this?
probably like 82, 83.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't even at the height of your...
Oh, no, I did that one. That was the first thing I bought.
Yeah,
I mean,
motel.
you know, like some people, the first thing they buy is a car. Well, the first thing I bought was a motel because I understood the value of having money come in.
So you telling me you had a 7-8 year run?
Yeah, I had an 8-year run.
Why didn't you quit? You making $3 million a day. Why not quit? Why not take the money? Like, all right, I'm about to do...
Because all of it wasn't profit.
It gets easy. Yeah, and when I say I made $3 million a day, that wasn't profit.
Right, of
No. I probably, you figure off of every $1 million, I probably make 200,000.
You run the business.
All right. So you was still making 600. You still pocketing 600 grand a day.
I had a lot of money.
Right.
I made a lot of money. But now I'm making money. But now what about my homies? They started late.
Yeah.
You know, when I try to get all of them started, it was just funny that we just talked about that when we was off air. My boy Young Al just called me, and I tried to get him to get started when I started,
Right.
and he wouldn't do it. You know, they all started late. So when it was time for me, when I was ready to quit, they all begged me not to quit.
Because you got to get them straight now.
Because now they got to get straight. Yep. So it was more about helping other people get on than just me getting on. You know, with me, I don't really. I mean, I like money, but I think I get more joy out of making it than spending it. You know, like
yeah, you had a business, illegal or otherwise, and when you got a business, you got people work under you. You got a lawyer. You still feel a kind of a loyalty to them.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I know exactly
and it is more than that with these guys. Mm-hmm. These are like my brothers. You know, like. Yeah. We my mom let us fix her garage up, so we all slept in her garage together, like 15, 20 of us. We all over the bed, the floor. And
so in other words, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have went to prison.
Nah, not necessarily. I can't say that, because we'll say that we're gonna quit, and then
of course,
soon as it get a little dry, the money dry up, you be like, oh, I'm gonna hit a lick.
Mm-hmm. So it's always that last lick
that get you.
Yeah.
Yep, that last one. Question. So was the first prison you went to, was that Lompoc?
No, the first prison I went to was Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah, Lompoc was the first United States penitentiary I went to.
Which one did you find yourself in? I mean, like when Lompoc, you found your true self. Lompoc?
So you became inmate 05550-045.
Yeah.
Walk us through that. How did you become that, and how did you give that? So walk us from that. What Rock is asking you with the first prison. How did you become that inmate 05550-045? And how did you give that life sentence back?
Well, first, I quit selling drugs a year and a half before I went to prison.
Oh, yeah. When the feds get on you, though.
I wasn't selling drugs. I kind of came to my senses about drugs before prison.
But the feds was already on you, though.
Yeah, well, I had my own task force.
Yeah.
I had what they call a freeway task force.
Freeway task force.
So what they did is they went to all the areas that I was selling drugs in, and they took like the best cops from all of those narcotic agents, and they put them together, and they called them the Freeway Task Force. And what happened is that they say that people bragged about me so much.
Your name was
My
flying.
name was just ringing, and so downtown wanted to know who was this guy. Who is this guy that everybody keep talking about with all this money? So they put the Freeway Task Force together, and these guys, they got mad. They took it personal. I kept beating them. Yeah. They couldn't catch me. I just had strategies that they couldn't understand why they couldn't catch me with drugs. Yeah. Like for instance, I didn't keep drugs in the house. Mm-hmm. You raid my house, you ain't gonna find no drugs. The drugs is probably gonna be in a car right down the street from the house. 3 or 4 blocks down the street. Mm-hmm. And if you don't see us put them in that car, you're not gonna find them drugs. So they would raid the house, couldn't find drugs. They couldn't find a lot of money. I mean, they would find like $40,000, $30,000, but they never found the stash because I used the same process of keeping my stuff in cars instead of keeping it in a house, with a car.
But with the feds, they give you a conspiracy for that 30 and 40,000 when you don't have no.
Well, that's what they do anyway. Yeah, you don't need drugs with the feds.
Yeah, they give you that conspiracy. They find that money.
Yeah, in co-ed crime.
And they do with the witnesses. Like I was talking to somebody today, about the Keefy D and Puffy thing, and I was telling them that the way the feds do it is, if somebody comes in and testify that you had 10 kilos of cocaine, even though they don't have 10 kilos of cocaine no more.
I never saw you.
Or never saw you with the guy.
Yep.
But if this guy can say, like in my case, they had a hotel that we were in where they found my fingerprint on a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And even though I used a fake name, that showed them that I was at that hotel. So when he said that we were at that hotel and Rick had 10 kilos of cocaine, that corroborated his story. That showed that his story was somewhat plausible because we were there. So they use what some people would call circumstantial evidence.
Right.
You know, it's not actual fact. I can remember my prosecutor doing his opening argument to the jury, and he told the jury that we're going to have a puzzle here. And with this puzzle, there's not going to be all the pieces not going to be to this puzzle. But what you have to do is you have to use your imagination of what this puzzle might look like.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, as a complete puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have a camera filming this thing.
So let me ask you this: what did your situation have to do with the? Because I remember it was tied into
Ollie
North, Ollie North and all Oliver North. What did your situation have to do with that?
My drug supplier, who also was my informant, was a Contra. He was a minister of agriculture for Nicaragua. So when the Somoza regime got kicked out by the Sandinistas, he was one of them that had to flee the country, and America was backing the Contras. Reagan said he was a Contra. Ronald Reagan and George Bush was Contras. They said they were Contras.
It was a Cold War era. That's back when they were trying to keep communism out of South America.
So this was your story. This is the Snowfall story.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
this TV show Snowfall FX.
It get deeper than that though. Have you seen The Last Narco?
No.
There's a guy on there. His name is Hector Belareza. He's a real narco.
Right.
But there was a DA agent named Kiki Camarena. Kiki Camarena was murdered.
I remember Kiki. I remember when that happened.
Kiki was murdered by the CIA, but also by the drug lords.
Right.
The reason they killed Kiki is because Kiki discovered the airfield where they were bringing in the drugs and the guns and the weapons in Mexico.
So wow.
And that was all the way part of that. But the guy in the interview with Valuetainment, he said that he mentioned your name and connected all those dots because he walked away from the DEA once he found out that the CIA was actually complicit. And this was in the early 90s. Was complicit in bringing drugs off into South Central.
Right. That's deep. So that situation. So Snowfall, they created that TV show. Have you ever been contacted to be a consultant for that show?
Well, you know, me and John Singleton was hanging out.
Right.
Before he did.
I was going to say John Singleton was first, but then
before he did Snowfall, you know, if you go to his Instagram, you'll see a picture of me and him, and he bought one of my first books.
Okay.
You know, John gave me $100 for the book, and on that picture, his capture was Rick Ross, great story, somebody I looked up to all my life, always heard about, Snowfall coming soon. I didn't know that.
John. Okay, so for those that don't know, Snowfall is a show based upon what's his name? What's the character's name?
Franklin
Saint.
Franklin Saint.
Right, and so, but anyway, it's loosely based off of Rick Ross.
Yeah, it is.
But the thing about it is, the first season is the only season that John Singleton had something to do with because he died afterwards. First or the second season, I can't remember. But he died. So you saying that originally John Singleton wanted you to be a part of that?
No.
John Singleton stole your shit.
He was supposed to direct my movie.
Okay. All right.
I've been working on my movie since I went to prison. You know, I worked with the late George Jackson. Me and him were working on it. There was another professor from UCLA. Me and him was working on it. Me and Nick Cassavetti worked on it. But I always wanted John. I thought John would be the perfect director because he was from South Central. And I thought that would, you know, and he did Boys in the Hood. I just thought that was a perfect fit. So I thought he was going to be the one that directed. You know, I was shocked and a little hurt when I heard that he did Snowfall and didn't even ask me to be a consultant.
That's because he stole your script.
Yeah, you think he stole it and just was
he ain't come up with that damn idea on his own.
Well, you know, but you know it too, and I used to really be pissed at John, but now I don't. You know, after I did a little thinking about it, because I don't know if you ever heard of Preachers of L.A.
Yes.
I haven't.
Yes, it's a reality show.
Okay.
Yeah.
They wanted me to be on there.
But you're not a preacher.
Well, me and Bishop Jones, Bishop Jones helped me when I got out of prison.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was hanging with Bishop Jones.
Gotcha.
And when Gibson brought on the two Crips, I don't know if you remember, he had the two Crips with him.
Nah, I never really watched it. I know the show, but I haven't watched it.
Well, he brought two Crips on, so Bishop Jones was going to one-up him and bring me on the show.
Okay.
So he went to the people and asked them about it, and they said, "Oh, Rick Ross, great. Is he gonna rap?" And he said, "No, not the rapper, the real
Rick
one."
Ross.
And they said, "The one that really sold drugs." He said, "Oh no, we don't want him." So after I thought about all that, and I said, "You know what? John probably went to those people and told them, hey, I got Rick Ross. We want to do the story." And they probably said, "We'll do the story, but we don't want Rick Ross."
You know, man, your story should be told. There should be a movie about you. So is there a movie in the works? What are we looking at now? What kind of platform are we looking to put a movie out? Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be a blockbuster.
Oh no, it's gonna be a blockbuster. My movie gonna break the box.
Well, let me
office.
ask you this: you got a good relationship with Boosie. He's making movies now.
Boosie who?
No, I'm working.
Boosie who?
Boosie badass.
Boosie badass got problems. Boosie,
He's making movies. He's real. He good. He's.
I
they got a
love
relationship.
Boosie, but Boosie made a mistake.
All right, we ain't getting that.
We're gonna get in that shit.
Yeah,
man.
nah. We ain't about to do
Boosie
that.
got problems.
Yeah, I'm helping him with that.
I plead. I mean, I
I'm helping.
I hope everything turn out right for Boosie.
No, he's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah. So,
No, I'm working with Reginald Hutland right now.
okay, yeah, Reginald Hunt, yeah.
Yeah, Reggie, the coldest black filmmaker in the game. So I got the right one.
Your story should be told.
But go
man.
back to it, bro. They stole your story.
Oh, he did. No question.
I mean, you got you real Rick Ross. You got $1 billion brand. Period. Snowfall the movie. The theater. Well, how long ran for 5 years? 6 seasons.
Nah, like 6 seasons.
6 seasons.
So think about all the money that they made, because this on free TV. So they mean they selling commercials. So they selling
6 million viewers a night.
They selling commercials they selling commercials based off your life story. All right, you got an artist who done sold millions of records, right?
4 artists.
4 artists and selling millions of records off your name, right?
What you mean? Oh, Freeway, Rick Ross, and who else?
Whoever else.
Rich the Factor.
Who?
Rich the Factor.
I don't even know who that is.
He from Kansas City. Used to be Freeway Rich. He changed his name after Rick Ross came out, and then the Freeway Boys out of Cincinnati. Rich is out of Kansas City.
Now, the situation with Rick Ross, the rapper, right? I know you sued him before, but did you ever have a relationship with him or try to have a relationship with him? Because he tries to clown you when your name comes up. Like
He does.
Yeah. So did you ever have a relationship with him?
We talked a couple times when I was in prison.
Yeah, when he was in.
Yeah, when I was in, I talked to him.
You got caught by the statute of limitations in regards to your civil case, right?
Yep. Yeah, you did your homework.
Yeah, I'm not lawyer, man. I saw this a long time ago. Though. I got a crazy memory. I saw this a long time ago, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I should.
Rick Ross was selling music when there were CDs out.
Yeah.
So before streaming came in, right? So you sell 4 million albums, right? At $20 a pop,
Right.
right? You at $80 million.
But he haven't sold that many records. His business acumen is on another level because he haven't. And that's talking about him.
Them
But
wings, he did good with them
yeah.
wings.
But I'm saying he hasn't sold a lot of records though.
He may
That's
not
the
have
thing
sold a
about
lot
him,
of
yeah.
records, but when I first heard that name, I first heard him, I thought about you.
Right.
A lot of people did. The name was already etched in people's mind. In 1996, I was the most talked about person in the country.
Right.
When Gary Webb did the article Dark Alliance, and that story hit the news.
I read that.
Yeah, it was the most talked about story. Time magazine said that I was the most talked about person in the country. I was the first. My story was the first time a major newspaper ever published anything on the internet.
San Diego Sun-Times, what was that?
Mercury News.
Something like that. I remember something.
San
like
Jose Mercury News.
San
So
Jose.
while we talking about articles, Jesse Katz, right? The LA magazine wrote an article on you in 2013.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was crazy.
Now he said in that article, he said he was writing your obituary.
That's what he thought.
Right. That he thought he was writing your obituary.
Yeah. He
What
thought
was
I
your relationship with him, and like, did y'all have a relationship after that, or what was?
Yeah, me and Jesse,
what
we
came
cool,
of that?
we cool now. We cool. He just can't believe that that I pulled it off.
Yeah, I gathered that.
Yeah.
But you know that Webb article. That's when I first realized. That's when I remember when the Ollie North and the Iran Contra trials and everything went on, right? But I didn't really realize the depth of what they tried to do in regards to crack cocaine in our communities and stuff like that, and the CIA's involvement. Because George Bush was the former director of the CIA. I didn't realize that until I read that article.
Right. Well, Gary definitely put together a hell of a piece and did some nice research, and it shocked the world.
Yeah.
You know,
it killed him. Do you think he was assassinated?
I don't know. You know.
He said he killed himself, but the way they say he killed himself,
they say he shot himself twice. You know,
You shoot
himself twice in the head.
That shit don't make no sense.
So it's tough, but you know,
mean, if you hold I don't know.
The doctor said, the coroner said it was possible, and I didn't see the research, so I just just kept going. Did
you ever worry about your life being in danger while you was in prison?
When I first heard that it happened, it shook me a little bit, but I said it wasn't something I could worry about, you know, because I was in their house, you know, they got the key to my cell, they can open that door anytime they want to, they could take me anywhere they wanted to take me, so it wasn't no sense in me worrying. I just, you know, kept on doing what I was doing.
Yeah. That's something else.
Man. So.
You read that Jesse Cat article?
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah.
I read it.
You know, and Jesse was, in the article, you know, he said he thought I was delirious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I told him the stuff that I was going to be doing, and
he didn't believe it.
He didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because you was locked up. You
told him you was going to take over boxing. You told him you was going to, what else you told him?
I told him I was going to put out a book.
Put out in the music business. And
I told him I was going to put out mixtapes. I already put them out.
Right.
I did them the first couple of years I was out.
Right.
My book is, matter of fact, I'm working on my third book right now.
Right.
You know, I'm working on Why Niggas Don't Want Money right now. It's going to be my third book.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. When is that coming out?
I don't know.
Working on
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it.
That dude, he came to prison expecting to see you downtrodden and contrite.
He said he was writing his obituary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was coming to, you know,
exactly.
Well, you know, I let the kids, when I go to high schools and speak, I like the kids to read that.
Yeah.
You know, so they can see that no matter how low you are. See, that was probably my lowest point in life.
Right.
You know, and it just tickled me now, you know, because people be like, well, man, you should be further along than where you are right now. And I'd be like, bro, you don't know where I come from.
Exactly.
You better go read Jesse Cat's article and let Jesse tell you where I was at.
Right.
You know, Jesse came up to that penitentiary. He describes the penitentiary in that article.
They call that the Alcatraz, the modern Alcatraz.
You was in a max.
I was in a max.
That shit is a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 4 fences around.
Yeah.
And about 6 gun towers.
Yeah, you was in there with
3 trucks.
Max.
3 trucks. 3 trucks circle like this here all day long. 24 hours a day. They're going around that penitentiary.
That's crazy.
And they said you ain't coming out of there. So
this is a boxing podcast. The reason that Rick is on here because you said that you've been saying it along for a while. You said you often state that you're going to take over boxing.
Yeah.
What are your plans for doing that?
Well, you know, this year was the first year I ever went to a national tournament, which was unbelievable, man. I had such a good time. In Detroit. Yeah, I had a good time. I'm gonna be at the next one too in
December.
It was in Detroit. December. I missed you up
there. I thought I introduced you to him.
Nah, man. You know we had Chad had the medical thing, so we left when we couldn't fight.
But that same day I thought I introduced.
I remember if I met Rick.
Yeah, I thought I did. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so that was an unbelievable experience for me. You know, to see being that close to the next superstars, and nobody was really there. You know, it's like when I got home, I started off with football. Me and one of my nephews, because I had a nephew that was really good in football. So we started off in football. We run around, we chasing football players. I used to work with Deion Jordan, who got picked number 2 in the draft.
Right.
When he was at Oregon, I helped him. Cliff Harris. Cliff Harris. I don't know if you know who Cliff Harris is.
Yeah, it's Cliff. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I know Cliff Harris.
Yeah, but Cliff, at 18 years old, played in a national championship game and would have been MVP had Oregon won that game.
Right.
One of my partners called me, a Grape Street Crip was up in Vegas. He was like, man, you ever heard of Cliff Harris? I was like, nah, I ain't never heard of Cliff Harris. And he was like, man, he did this, he did that. And so I went and did my research. And he said, man, the dude up here running around with a pistol talking about he gonna rob somebody. I said, huh? The kid ain't but like 19, 20 years old. But they had kicked him off an Oregon team. You know, that messed up his draft choice and everything, you know, from going to the league. And I said, man, get him on the phone with me. So I got on the phone with him. I was like, what's going on? He's like, man, I got kicked out of my apartment and I'm doing bad and blah, blah, blah. I said, man, listen, I ain't got much, but what I'll do is I'll send you a plane ticket right now. I got a room at my mom's crib. You can come live there. So I sent for him and we got him. I got him drafted by, I got him put on the Jets.
That's what's up, man.
I got him on the Jets and after he got his contract, he got a $400,000, I think $450,000, and then he went to New York and got caught with a gun again.
Wow.
And
Can't help everybody. But that's amazing, though.
So I was already chasing football, and then I saw how in football, they chasing these kids at 14, 15 years old. If you don't get them early, you ain't going to get them. So when I go to boxing, and I'm like, this kid here, national champ, you know, it's like an All-American, and ain't nobody on this kid yet. Ain't nobody paying no attention to him. They would allow somebody to come in there and be able to talk to him and his parents this easy. And I was like, oh, no, this game too easy. So my next move was just to get some money. You know, I got to get some money up under me now, which I'm finna do. You know, my dispensary will be opening in about 3 weeks. I got the coldest manager that probably ever ran a dispensary. She ran a dispensary that made $62 million a year. And now she's going to be running my dispensary for me. So I'll be having the budget to make some real moves now.
How they going to do the cash, though? Because in Denver, you can't even put the marijuana cash in the bank. They got people with vaults in their houses.
I ain't got no money, put no money in no bank. I used to then put my money in the bank before. I hit it.
So you already know.
Yeah. This time the feds can't come get it.
Nah, that's crazy. But you got to have some armed guards, though.
Nah.
Let's go back to the boxing thing. So what are you trying to be a consultant? You want to be a manager?
Well, I'm a promoter. I start off as a manager. You know, I manage about.
Got Lamont Peterson, right? You working with
Anthony.
him? I'm not Lamont, his brother.
Anthony Peterson. You know, I found Kid Austin too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I found Kid Austin. I helped him get to where he was.
No, you from here in Atlanta.
Yeah. I told him that before.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah. I had another kid, Nafir Charles, who was 9-0 before he retired. He retired. I also helped Chris Lovejoy. I don't know if you heard of Chris Lovejoy, big heavyweight. I helped Chris Lovejoy get 19-0. Okay. Another kid, Bashan Champ, Alvin Vermeer out of New Orleans. I've been working with him. Now I'm working with a couple more kids. I got 2 kids that qualified, you know, already for the Olympic tryouts that I'm working with. What I'm gonna do is stay active, stay in the circle, you know, like meeting you, you know, meeting you have been a blessing. I mean, you turned me on to your brother-in-law. Now I know it, the Mozzie, you know, so I just continue to meet people, assist wherever I can. I know Bozy and Boots. You know, I used to have a guy that used to train with Bozy. And I just keep making my roots, you know. Johnny Rocket has been helping me. Dwayne out of Delaware been helping me. Troy out of Denver, you know. And the other thing that I found out was one of the things that I'm gonna focus on the trainers. Yeah. You know, matter of fact, Calvin. I talked to Calvin yesterday.
Calvin Ford.
Yep.
We just was down there with him.
Calvin told me start calling him more, cause I'm that kind of guy. Like if I ain't got nothing to bring to the table, I ain't gonna be coming to the table. Right. I'd rather sit back and watch y'all eat than to come to the table and not bring nothing to the table. So
are you gonna help? So like, are you gonna start helping kids like get the national tournaments financially, giving them
all
money?
that? Yeah, all that.
and helping them get.
All
have you
that.
started working with promoters so you can build those relationships?
Right now, I've been working on what I'm putting together is called a promoters alliance. It's about 16 promoters.
Makes sense.
I'm buying my own cameras. I'm gonna have my own website, and I'll pay to go out, have my camera crew go out and film all their shows. Because one of the things that the little guys is missing that the big four got is they got TV. They got a way where guys can get seen in these little shows. These guys just, they only get seen by the 1,200 people sitting in the audience, and that don't give them the notoriety. Plus, I got the notoriety already.
So, but speaking of that, let me ask you this: because you are who you are, right, and that big stigma that's attached to you, the drug dealing and stuff. How do you think that's going to play out in that world of boxing? Meaning, people wanting to work with you, and because I know you've had some people that may have stopped working with you because of that.
Yeah, absolutely, quite a few.
Yeah. So how do you think that's going to play out?
Well, pretty soon I'm gonna be so dominant.
That's it. Yeah.
I'll be so dominant in the game that they're gonna have to mess with me. These guys. And no disrespect to nobody, but I don't think they can think. I'm a strategist. I can look at a situation. I can figure out how to make the situation better. Like I look at these guys, and these guys don't get no endorsement money.
Right.
They don't do no movies. They don't do no TVs. Like I got a list of producers, directors, and if I call and say, hey. Put my guy, like Anthony could have been in like 3 movies, but his time frame didn't match up. I'll do stuff. Say for instance, like J Rock. I was helping J Rock for a little while.
Okay.
And J Rock was undisputed 54-pound world champ. He had a fight coming up. It was during the middle of NFL football.
Okay.
Playoffs. I couldn't understand why he wasn't on the sideline of the playoff game. He was fighting on Fox. Fox do the playoffs. Why are you not on the sideline promoting that fight?
Because the people didn't know to ask, more than likely.
Yeah.
We go to the fight, nobody understands. So when I see stuff like this, I see that the people who are at the top, the fighters, they so scared that they don't know what they should be asking for, and they don't know how to ask for it. And I just couldn't understand how they're letting all of this money go to the wayside.
Of course.
That they could be benefiting from.
And so that's what you're going to bring to the table, to teach people how to...
All that. Well, I'm going to be sponsoring movies.
Well, it make perfect sense because one of the things that boxing is missing is somebody who really understands marketing from a cross appeal.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like Floyd famous because of, 24/7 series, right? It showed his personality. But the main thing about boxing promoters and boxing managers is that they don't have Wall Street or corporate America relationships where they can call in to a Nike, Adidas, and the other companies, like you saying with Fox, and get people actually, name, image, and likeness deals. Boxing is missing all of that.
Absolutely.
But strictly because of the situation that the people who are in administrative and managerial capacities, they don't have the relationships. It's all about relationships.
Listen, most of these managers, you call them, they don't even answer their phone. They don't know who you are.
That's a fact.
They won't answer your call. If I call one of them, it's about some money. I ain't calling. I don't even want nobody calling me that ain't talking about no money.
See, the thing about you is, and especially after, everything come, when your story just hits full blast and you get full, faith and credit for it, you're going to be able to make a phone call to a CEO of a major corporation and they're going to pick the phone up and call you back.
Absolutely.
Your celebrity is going to afford you that status.
Well, I mean, that's good.
Because money can get you some things, but celebrity plus money
also gotta
can
look
get
at,
you everything.
We also got to be able to look at being able to get those promoters on the phone and get what the boxers need, from the promoters.
But that's why he's saying
rank,
that. So what he's saying is that by getting to the kids earlier from that standpoint and establishing those familial relationships,
Top rank won't have them.
The promoters going to have to work with them.
No, they won't have them.
They won't have them.
They won't even have the fighters.
But who gonna
Pretty
promote?
soon, I'm gonna have all the boxers, all the amateurs are gonna be already. When they come, they're gonna have to come talk to me.
I mean, what he's able to do is what Al Heyman came in and did for the on the professional ranks.
He did it with money.
Yeah,
Right.
He bought his way in.
exactly.
When I went to the Nationals, the mamas and the daddies wanted to take pictures with me.
Exactly. That's celebrity.
They trust me.
Right.
Let me tell you, I was sitting in jail. I'm sitting in jail, right? And I'm like, damn, what you gonna do when you get home? Can't be no preacher. I don't want to be no preacher. 'Cause- so what
It's
you gonna
crazy
do?
that was even a
And then
thought.
one day, the guy slid a paper up under my door, and it was a USA Today. And it said, black folks make $1.2 trillion a year. I said, that's my job right there. Take care of that 1.2 trillion for them. The past 3 weeks, black folks done start sending me money. 25,000, 400,000. What's gonna happen when these black folks make this money with me? They're gonna be going around shouting, "Oh, look what I did! Look what Rick did for me!"
Right.
Just like they did in the dope game. See, the police told me, they say, you was good. Your friends got you caught. I said, huh? He said, yeah, your friends always bragging about you. They always talk about how smart you was and how good you was. That's what got you caught. That's what made us want to get you.
Wow.
When that happens, right now I got a distribution deal with Universal Music Group right now. I got the same deal, Cash Money, Jay-Z, all them dudes got. The only difference is they didn't give me no money.
So how you gonna sign artists? What do you got to do to sign artists to the label?
You didn't just see what I said?
Yeah,
Black
you
folks
said-
done start sending me
okay,
money.
Okay, I got you.
Hey, they sending me checks, 25,000,
Yeah, you got a 90-10
50,000. Tomorrow, I pick up a $400,000 check tomorrow for weed. Friday, a lawyer called me. He said, Rick, he said, you say you need some money in the weed business? I said, yeah, I could use some money. He said, I got some black Wall Street guys. Said they're going to pay your way to New York. They want to sit down with you and talk about putting some money behind you, some real money.
Yeah. You know why? Because you have you got a name from that. We need to talk about that because I do stuff. But anyway, but you got a name for it. And
Tomorrow-
your name opened doors.
Tuesday, when I get back to LA, a white guy, I already had a deal with him, but his people, because he was so big that his people beat me out the deal. They backdoored me on every deal I did. They went behind me and because they controlled the prices and cut me. So me and him finally talked after about a year. And I told him, I said, man, the reason I stopped working with y'all because of your people. He said, man, come see me Tuesday. Let's sit down. We're going to talk. This dude make 40, maybe $50 million a month selling weed. I got another partner. He makes probably $1 million every day selling weed.
Yeah, you got the Mike Tyson effect. Mike Tyson make a ton of money just by lending out his, like Tyson doing what Trump did.
Right.
Trump made money off his brand and through licensing the Trump name.
All
You
right.
can do that same thing.
But I know the business.
Let's bring
Yeah.
this.
And
You know
not
the
only do I
business.
have a name, but I studied the business.
Yeah, you know the business.
See, I know the first thing.
Let's bring this to a head. Hold on. Hold the thought. Go ahead. Keep finishing.
go ahead.
Finish your thought.
The first thing that you do in any business you go in is learn what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Yeah. Let me ask you this in closing. The last question I want to ask you, and what is going to be your legacy? When it's all said and done, because you mentioned earlier that you were the most known person in the country, right? So what are you doing with the celebrity, and what do you think what is your legacy going to be? How do you see your legacy?
Somebody that love black people. They're gonna say he loved black people.
See, dap you up. That's me. That's my litmus test.
Yeah.
You don't love black people, I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, y'all heard what Freeway Rick Ross said. He's gonna take over the boxing game. So all you amateur boxers out there, be looking out for him. And your managers better watch out. He's coming to take.
No, I
over,
work
so-
with the managers too. I ain't no hater. We can get on together. And promoters too. But if you don't work with me, I mean, we're gonna be working against each other. I'm gonna try to tackle you hard.
But the crazy, I mean, you could actually be a manager. That's all Al Heyman.
Well, that's
is.
what he said he wanted
PBC
to
is
do.
a management company.
That's what he said he's gonna do.
Well, you know, Al is an advisor. So when
Al
you're
is an advisor,
when you're the advisor, you can be the manager and the promoter technically.
Technically.
Right.
Yeah. That's the way that he got around that